What is going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to a brand new video. Now, if you can see, we have got my car, but also we've got another TT, so this video should probably be twice as good. Today we are actually going to be comparing the Quattro Sport with the, would you class it as the normal? The bog standard TT. So this is owned by a friend of mine, and if you want to see more about this, we'll actually do a review on this later on, but that's in another video. Today I'm actually going to be talking to you about what is different about the Quattro Sport. Not many people actually know this car even exists, and that's probably down to the small numbers and the fact that you just don't see these on the road anymore. And I'm going to sort of go into more detail as to why you don't see these on the road anymore and how rare they really are. So the first thing we're going to do is actually compare the look of these two. So there's been a few modifications done to this, but majority of this car is pretty sort of standard, whereas again this car, there's some things done to it, but again this car is very standard. So we'll do the outside and then we'll move on to the inside, and then I'm going to talk about more sort of like the statistics and the sort of more in-depth reason as to what this car is compared to the normal TT. Anyway, enough of me talking, let's go around these cars and really get to know and have a look at them. So as I mentioned, this is my Audi TT Quattro Sport. Now, if it is your first time watching the channel, I've had it for around 6 years or so now, and it's absolutely disgusting. I mean, I got shouted at as well because, I mean, that's actual bird poo that I've not even cleaned up for the video, so I'm sorry. So if you are interested in my car, there is more videos that I've made, all the different modifications I've all documented. Today, as mentioned, we're going to be talking about the differences between the Quattro Sport and the normal, I don't know what to call this, it's like the normal TT, I guess you could say. So first things first, let's start at the front. So the front of these cars are fairly similar. So you've got the normal TT and the Quattro Sport. So differences is actually the bumper itself. The keen eye viewers would have seen this. So this thing here, whatever this does, pretty sure it's not functional, it just kind of looks nice. This is only present on the 3.2 and the Quattro Sport. Zooming out a little bit and talking about more about the front bumper. So as you can see, you've got this, which I believe is called the 3-bar grille. So this is only present on the Quattro Sport, I believe, and it also filters down to underneath the number plate. So this again has sort of two bars. It's not the honeycomb effect, unfortunately, because I'm actually a big fan of this effect, and that is actually present on the normal TT. This does have an aftermarket RS style grille, which actually looks really nice. However, I'll put the normal one on screen just so you can see the differences between obviously mine and the one on screen now. So moving backwards, most of the car on the side, sort of in this area here, they're all very much the same. Obviously, these are the wheels that come with the Quattro Sport, so these are actually staggered. So what I mean by staggered is that here you have no lip here, whereas here you have a lip here, which not many people actually know. Even the people that own Quattro Sports tend to sometimes put the back wheels on the front wheels and the front wheels on the back because they don't know the difference that is actually there. So unlike this one, as you can see, no lip. I'm moving on to the backwards as well, no lip. So these are square all round, so you don't have to worry about putting them on the wrong axle. So moving back from the sort of front of the car onto the actual sort of side, the door basically. On Dean's, he's actually painted these matte black, whereas these would normally come as the body colour. But on the Quattro Sport, these actually do come black. So this is a black that also matches the roof of the car. So they're sort of like the only difference on the side. Now, moving back even further, this is sort of very much the same here, and then moving further back towards the rear of the car, as you can see on the Quattro Sport, you have these things here. So these are the rear spats, and these you can actually buy obviously secondhand, but I mean they're like £180. They are a lot of money. You can actually buy fiberglass ones of these, but again, I mean nothing fits better than OEM. So you've got the rear spats here, whereas on this car, as you can see, there is no rear spats. I don't know if that's something to do with obviously the wheels being staggered, if they're slightly wider than these ones, but yeah, I'm not too sure. Now moving back around the rear of the car, and as you can see, we have the lip extension. So on the Quattro Sport, you will have this lip extension here, and if you come round to the normal TT, you can see it is not present here.
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
However, a lot of people, such as Dean as well, is actually going to be ordering a lip extension, which I think just sort of finish this car off. I mean, definitely if you sort of...
Wow! Beautiful!
Whereas this, I think it just falls a little flat. But yeah, shout out to Dean as well, he's just over there. That's his car, by the way. Moving around to the back, we have the honeycomb grille. So the honeycomb grille also you can get is a retrofit on these, which I am going to show you in a second. So Dean's actually upgraded his to the honeycomb, which looks a hell of a lot better than the one that comes on the normal 225 and the 180. If you can buy honeycomb, get honeycomb, boys. Right, the next thing on the list is these, the black tips. So only on the Quattro Sport they come with black tips. Now, a lot of people, when they do upgrade their exhaust system, they will change this out to obviously a normal silver tip, because that's what comes normally with this Miltex or the Scorpion exhaust. However, when I do upgrade the exhaust, which I will eventually do, I'm going to paint these black because I do like the OEM look. Well, OEM plus, I guess you could say. As you can see here, Dean also has the honeycomb effect. This is actually genuine Audi. Not too sure if this was actually an option before, but the ones that it comes with is just, yeah, not very nice and a bit ugly in my opinion. And obviously the same with Dean, because that's exactly why he's changed it. Before we actually move on to the interior of the Quattro Sport, which is arguably the biggest sort of change compared to the normal TT, I just want to talk about the very last thing on the exterior. If you just take a look over here, this car is obviously one colour. Whereas if you have a look at the Quattro Sport, it's not just one colour. It actually got the top half-ish, the top half actually in a black. I don't know what this black is. I'll put it on screen as to what this black is actually called. And then obviously you've got further down, you've got the other colour that you can get them in. I know that a couple of other Quattro Sport owners are going to be watching this, and I just wanted to say that red is the worst colour you can get these in. If you're going to get a Quattro Sport, guys, get a blue because it's the best colour. Enough of me joking around, let's get on to the interior, which I said is probably the biggest sort of change compared to the 225 and the 180. So this is probably a familiar sight to anybody that owns a TT. So yeah, this is a fairly common sight for anybody else to see. You've got a nice leather steering wheel, and then to the left of you is a nice leather seat, and also what you're sitting on as well is a nice leather seat. And in the back there is two more, are they seats? Yeah, there's just like bits of leather here that's with seat belts for people with no legs. Now moving on to the inside of the Quattro Sport, it is a very different story. Firstly, you'll be met with these. So these are the Recaro, I call them racing bucket seats, but they're actually called pole positions. Now these, they look very uncomfortable, and trust me, these are not actually that uncomfortable, considering you've got maybe like 8 centimeters worth of cushion in here, and even less when it comes down to your bum. They are surprisingly comfortable. So these are a very nice leather, which actually is easily scratchable. So you can buy these like covers that basically sit over here. And then inside, like I said, you've got Alcantara. So jumping into the driver's seat, which is nice and easy to get into, as you could probably hear, you are met with a different type of steering wheel. Now, I'm pretty sure this is the same shape, however, is very different in material. So this is an Alcantara steering wheel, which is exactly the same as the Alcantara that you see here, as well as on here and also here. Seeing a TT and seeing these different aspects on the interior, you will know, if you've not seen the exterior already with the black roof, you will know that this is a Quattro Sport, because these, so this, obviously the seats and the steering wheel is the only difference, I believe, to the interior. Oh, I've just completely forgot that it doesn't have rear seats. So let me show you this a little bit better. So one of the biggest selling points of this car is the interior, as we've just discussed. So the pole positions, and also, if you can see, these are actually matched to the exterior of the car, which is a cool touch by Audi, so I love that. As you can see, there is no seats here. Now, you are more than welcome to sit in here. However, I don't believe that it will be very comfortable, and there's no seat belt, so if we crash, you'll probably die. This is the rear seat delete that only comes on the Quattro Sport. Now, there's been a load of remakes for these, so you can actually find TTs, normal TTs, that will have one of these fit, but they're never normally as good as the original. They can sell for up to like £1,000. For me personally, I mean, you saw there was no real need for the back seats. There's no one going to be able to fit in these. So the rear seats are not needed in this car, and I absolutely love the rear seat delete in this. So yeah, big props to Audi. Right, so now we're seeing the inside of this car as well as the outside. So if we were to ever come across one of these, we can know that we can tell the difference between a normal TT and a Quattro Sport. Now, let me talk about some of the statistics that surround this car. When it comes down to numbers, there were only 1,165 of these Quattro Sports actually made, and 800 were made in right-hand drive. And of that 800 that have came to the UK, around 420 actually remain licensed and even on the road. So if you actually are able to see one of these on the road, think yourself you're very, very lucky, because especially when you compare it to these cars. So the 180 versions of the TT, just like this one here, there's around 4,000 of these still licensed. But if you compare that, the 180 to the 225, there's only over 9,000. It's over 9,000! Over 9,000 of these cars still left of the 225s that are actually licensed. I'm not too sure how many will be sold, but again, if you are interested, all the links will be in the description. You guys can go there and actually see where I've got all these statistics from. Some more statistics for you. So the Quattro Sport came from the factory around 75 or 48 kilograms lighter than the actual 225s and 180s. Now, there is a bit of sort of discretion when it comes to this. Some sources say 48, some say 75, I don't really know. Either way, this car came lighter from factory than the other cars. And also, as mentioned, it came with more power. So already this car is faster and also lighter than the other cars. And the savings were not just made on the actual weight of this car. Savings were also made within the flywheel and clutch of this car. So this came with a lighting flywheel and a lighting clutch, which also was sort of like a bad thing when it came to these cars. So people actually mapped these cars from when they came out of factory and they instantly started slipping. But if you didn't map it, then you would know that obviously this has a lighting flywheel and a lighting clutch, and just makes it nicer to drive, I guess. And with it being a nice car to drive, you also have the interior to go alongside that to give you that sort of confidence that you need to be able to sort of throw this car around. Whereas the 225 is more of sort of like a friendlier version, I guess, of the Quattro Sport. And last thing, when comparing these two cars, these cars actually came with an uprated suspension compared to the normal 225 and 180. So even from factory, the idea with this car was to be more, I guess, race focused. I mean, I call it a race car for the road, and so does my daughter, who loves this car. So yeah, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video and enjoyed sort of getting to know and understanding what a Quattro Sport is all about. Next time you're on the road and you see one of these cars, hopefully not red, because that's the worst version of this you can get. But hopefully it's blue. If you see a nice blue Quattro Sport with a black top and it has all the nice bits and trinkets on the inside, you'll know you've just seen a Quattro Sport, which again, there's 200 on the road. I mean, it's less than some Ferraris. Hopefully you have enjoyed this. If you are interested in any other videos I've made in this car, you can go over to the channel, you can watch some of them videos. I do suggest going to watch it. There's some great videos on this. There's lots of little mods and trinkets I've actually done to this car to make it sort of better, more sort of future-proof, I guess you could say. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully I've enjoyed. My name is Josh. This is the Quattro Sport, and just behind the Quattro Sport you can see the 180. Again, huge shout out to Dean for letting us borrow his car. He's literally just been standing off in the background. Right, and that was my POV. Peace out, guys. If you compare that, the 180 to the 225, there's only over 9,000. I do like a little meme there as well, the over 9,000 meme.